Welcome back to Gopher's Workshop. I'm your host, Aaron, and joining me, as always, begrudgingly staring at a book across the room from me, is Chris.
I'm reading over here.
I'm reading over here.
You leave me and my good book alone.
So we're calling it now, the good book?
Every time there's a new codex, I always when I go to study it, I'm just like, nope, I need to go take a couple hours of the good book. And then I find out whether or not I was full of shit. It might be a bad book. But I assume they're all good.
I can't wait to hear what you have to say about a certain book when it comes out soon.
You mean the new Necron Tomb World book? You're right. I'm excited to read that one too.
God, I hate you so much.
I know. Well, I do it. This is what gets me out of bed in the morning. Your hate.
Pure hatred. So, are we going to talk about my favorite boy today?
We're going to talk about how he's mediocre now.
What? No.
Actually, I don't know which boy you're talking about, but yes.
My Night Lancer, is he mediocre now?
Kind of. So, arguably, other than detachments and stuff, he's not really changed, right? Because he's a Forge World thing, and the Forge World isn't in the book. So you're right. We should start there. There's a bunch of data sheets that are effectively unchanged. Now, in the most recent points adjustment for the Codex, their points are still accurate from that, Warhammer community. So they are still getting technical updates here, but they still have the same ability. Nothing's really changed with that. There's no new data sheet is the big thing. And that's true for all Forge World. So your Lancer, all three Cerastus, the two Atropos, those are all effectively the same, regardless of this codex.
Aside from their toughness, nothing's really changed.
And that was a couple of updates ago. I'm saying with the codex, technically they are different now, right? Because you can give them different detachment abilities, so they can interact with the game slightly different. But as far as their data sheet is concerned, unchanged. Most of the data sheets in this codex, though, have changed. Their abilities are a little different, or their guns aren't quite the same. So there is differences here, but not for Forge World.
Cool. So that was a good jump off point. So what do we got then?
We start with the beginning. So the army rule has changed. So again, this applies to everybody, right? Not Forge World included.
Mm-hmm.
So the army rule no longer has feel no pain at all. Gone for Imperial Knights.
Oof.
Okay, it sounds bad, but it's actually not. First off, I think the feel no pain is arguably what made it really hard for them to balance, because as they were adjusting toughness and number of wounds and all of these changes were made to keep them in line with the Chaos Knights. But the index was based upon the previous stat lines, which is where the feel no pain made more sense, because they had the higher toughness but less wounds. And feel no pain is more efficient the more wounds you have. So I don't know that was ever really factored in anyway. This is more accurate to what it should be. While they did lose feel no pain, they did also technically rework their whole oath deed thing, where they have to declare a thing. If they do it, then they get a bonus. So that is reworked in here. But the answer is they're almost all easier to do, right? They're slightly different. But the more important thing, name an oath. It's probably achievable on turn one, all three of them. If your opponent deploys properly, okay, maybe we have to do a turn two, but also they're all pretty achievable, in a turn that you decide to do them. So again, much easier to do. Arguably, the benefits are more relevant now, because instead of just getting a buff to the feel no pain that no longer exists, you're getting buffs elsewhere. Whether that's a reroll, a hit or a wound, or hit and wound, excuse me. Add 2 inches to your move characteristic, as well as add 1 to the advance and charge rolls. That one's really solid. And then there's also another one that says improve your OC by 2 and your leadership by 1.
Okay, those are all pretty solid.
Yep. The OC by 2 and leadership by 1, it's probably the weakest one. However, I still like it specifically because in certain matchups, whether it's Chaos Knights or things that like domesticated leadership, like Tyranids, that bonus leadership is going to be kind of hilariously good to turn off their effect, right? Tyranids doing the Shadow and the Warp to where everyone has to leadership test, and you're going to get like an amount battle shock to this turn to just say whatever that number was, whether it was like 1 knight or 2 knights or whatever else, to just say it's 1 less than whatever that number is. So it's actually like 0 or 1 is your average. That's way better. So again, I like all of these. These qualities are solid. There's a bonus CP effect that goes with this new thing. So when you achieve your deed, depending on how you chose it, you can get bonus CP, kind of like Votan used to. So again, this goes outside the normal CP gain. So it's, again, reasonably powerful to just turn 1 or turn 2, achieve your thing, not only get a bonus rule, but also now I'm up on CP by more than I could possibly be at on that turn. And now I can like use extra defensive strats or extra, things to kind of kill things early and get that snowball effect going. Army rule, I'm going to argue, is not strictly better, though I like it better because that Feel No Pain was a little imbalanced. Either way, whether we argue it's better or worse, doesn't matter. It is objectively, I think, more balanced, and we can all be happy about that. Whether we're playing it or playing against it, I think we're all happy about it.
I keep thinking of like specific knight models when it comes to certain things.
Sure.
Like rerolling hit and wound rolls. Gun boy. Big'em guns.
So, partially clarification and partially disagreement. So when you achieve this, each time a model is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 hit roll and 1 wound roll.
Okay. All right. So okay.
There are still knights that it's very good for, right? Like the big Castellan and Valiant. Those guys have like the crazy harpoon or the super laser gun.
Yeah.
Again, like D3 shots, being able to re-roll those to basically guarantee that the one crazy gun actually gets through. That's still incredibly powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the thermal guns, whether it's on the war dogs or the big knights. Again, you have a medium number of shots, kind of low, but guaranteeing that like the melta gets through.
Mm-hmm.
That's super powerful. It's not that it's bad. It's just because it's only re-rolling a single hit and single wound, like the double chain gun knight. All right, he probably doesn't care as much.
No.
But
okay.
Still good.
So, like, the other thing, though, the giving a +2 to your movements.
Good for everyone all the time. Good for everyone,
but I want to make it scary. Knight Lancers already move 14. Canis Rex already moves 12. So you're telling me that effectively these guys are getting advanced charge turn 1 potentially without having to advance?
Yes and no. So the short answer is yes, the Lancer already moves 14, which will go to 16. That's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So him being able to do it like turn 1 charge without advancing, solid. Lancer gives out advance and charge to war dogs, armigers. Yeah, be a little less heretical. So giving them the +2 move, again, powerful, love it. +2 move with the +1 to advance and charge. It's effectively +4 to a armiger. Solid stuff. And I'm not sure if this has actually changed or if this is just how it always was. Canis Rex is only a move of 10. He would go to 12.
Yeah.
Still reasonable.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, he probably doesn't turn 1 charge unless they moved up. Like you went second and they moved up closer. Because there aren't a ton of ways to give things advance and charge.
No.
There is like a strat in 1 detachment if you're using that thing. It's not bad, but also,
No, I mean, 100% you're going to use this ability on something like a Lancer with some war dogs. Or, I'm sorry, I'm heretical now. With some armigers. Specifically, you start using the Moirax with melee or the chainsword. What's his face? It's not Helvern. It's
correct.
God, I can't remember.
Nope, I'm just gonna wait.
No, it's gone.
Warglaive.
Warglaive. Yeah, so using it with like the Moirax or the Warglaive, I mean, you've got 3 very scary melee threats coming at you at like a full 16 to 20 inches of movement.
Yep. And now again, part of this is like, again, it's much more balanced, right? Because even if you could achieve your deed on turn 1, it's going to be after you move on turn 1. So getting a turn 1 charge is pretty hard to do unless they go first and move closer to you. Again, it's just another thing that like, it's not that it's not powerful. It's just that it's more balanced.
Yeah. I mean, at any point, having a 20-inch charge is effectively like a 20-inch move, and then you got like a 2-inch charge. Yeah, an average charge. That's ridiculously scary no matter what turn you're in, especially with how heavy those Moiraxes and those Warglaives and those Lancers can hit in melee.
Yeah.
It is very scary. It's just, I like this. I do like the new rules updates for them. I agree. Losing some feel no pains for this. Chef's kiss.
Right. And again, it's just about balance, right? Because the feel no pains were considered appropriate, especially the upgraded feel no pain. If you completed your deed, those were designed when literally every model had less wounds. Now that they have more wounds, well, the feel no pain is more valuable, and they weren't pointed for that. They were pointed to match the Chaos Knights. So, like, again, their points were not reflective of their rules in any way. It was just imbalanced.
Yeah.
Now we have updated rules with updated points. I'm not saying this is like better or worse. I'm just saying it's objectively like, at least it's intended. Now the points we acknowledge make sense instead of we shoehorned Chaos Knight stat lines onto these guys and then also shoehorned their points and then never factored in, but they have different rules.
Okay, enough about the crazy rules. Let's get into some goody goodies.
So we have technically 4 detachments, 5 if you include the Grotmus one. As a reminder, the Grotmus one was the mix with AdMech kind of combo wombo thing.
Which is kind of cool. I mean, it's pretty cool.
I still like that detachment, but we're going to kind of ignore that one because that one's been out for a minute.
And we've already talked about it.
Yep. So we'll just, the 4 new ones, they all have like very distinct jobs. And depending on your play style, I don't even know that like for a lot of factions, you can have a play style, whether it's like hyper aggressive or defensive or whatever, right? No, but you still had multiple options for detachments. Well, you technically have multiple here. After reading them, I feel like, what's your play style? That's the detachment you're using. Because they're just like, they're so heavily focused on doing a thing. So first example, the Valor Strike Lance. You want to go fast?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The detachment says all Imperial Knights, each time they advance, they get to re-roll advance. And if you advanced, all of your ranged weapons gain assault. Then if you look at the rest of the enhancements and stratagems, it's like giving things lance and doing all sorts of other stuff. So it's a full send detachment. You want to play aggressive? Literally, you could not get a more aggressive detachment. Go. I'm not saying I like the detachment. I think it's a little too aggressive because if your opponent knows what they're doing, they can just punish you for it. But also, if that's your play style, literally, you could not ask for anything else. This is exactly what you want. Go.
It's like you're talking to me.
I am. Don't do it. It's not the detachment I like. So on the opposite end of that, literally the next attachment is the Gate Warden Lance. This has a hilariously interesting rule. You get to draw a line in the sand, both metaphorically and literally. And that's the detachment rule. At the beginning of the first battle round, you get to select 2 objective markers on the battlefield, and then you draw a line between those 2 objective markers. If your models are over that line at the time that they do a thing in any way, they gain a benefit. They technically gain like a rule or whatever, but the rule effectively is you get to ignore all modifiers to your hit rolls and your weapons have sustained 1. You literally draw a line in the sand and then you go stand on the line and you say, like, you pull the Gandalf, you shall not pass. And that's the whole detachment.
Okay. I'm gonna be that guy. Ready? Because there always has to be that guy. So I'm gonna do it before anybody else does. Does the line have to be straight?
Yes.
It just says you draw a line.
No, it does not. All right. So I tried to simplify this so that it was easy to understand, and I'm not reading whole paragraphs to people who could read it themselves. But let me get out my little baby spoons and help you out. It says you draw a line from any part of one of your foundations, they call them. That's like the objectives you select, to the other. If any part of the model's base or hull, if it doesn't have a base, crosses that line, then models in that unit are said to be your defensive line. No, does not say the line has to be exactly straight. However, it also says from any part of the objective marker. So you could, in theory, you have like 40 millimeters leeway of like, it could be on the back part of the thing because I barely got there. It could be on the front part because I like charged in and pushed a little harder. So in addition to this 40 millimeter base like wiggle, I think there's a couple of interesting notes here. You're choosing 2 objectives. It doesn't care which 2 objectives, which means you should probably never choose the middle objective. Because if you're like doing No Man's Land, you could do the left and the right, and it goes straight through the middle, and you're effectively getting double the length than if you had chose like the middle one. Same if you really want to just like hammer home, be super aggressive, you would choose like your home and their home, right? So you're going to choose like this longer line. You're never really going to choose the middle. Also, because it came up actually last night, if you have the supply mission where you get like the bonus objective marker, it's like the only time where knights have a big enough base, one model could potentially hold 2 objectives. I'm not saying that has anything to do with this, but
it's not even that one time, because you got the other one where ritual, where you're making objectives.
Also that. Right? Ritual is less likely to happen because it's no longer in the recommended missions for tournaments.
Yeah.
But you're right. It is still in the like the mission deck. So you could be doing that as a part of your practice or whatever.
I just think the thought of, because arguably you could do it before too. The thought of one night, one turn making a ritual to do one objective, and then he doesn't move at all, and then just ritual objectives again with the other foot is hilarious to me.
So the other thing about this, so like furthermore on this detachment, let's say, I actually really like this detachment. It's not my favorite, but also this one I think actually gets played. The full send detachment probably doesn't get played as competitively because it's too high of risk. This one is designed to be defensive, but it has a bunch of unintentionally offensive things in this stratagems and enhancements. So there's an enhancement that basically says, if you're on the defensive line, you get to reroll hits and wound rolls of 1. Double chain gun boy, super happy about that. You have a stratagem for up to 2 knights, not 1, 2 knights can get +3 inches to their move characteristic. Defensive line or not, you want to be aggressive, here's your turn 1.
And this is just a stratagem?
Yep. So it, again, 1 command point up to 2 knights. And this would stack with your oaths if you have already achieved them, right? For the +2 move.
So you're getting...
You're right. Turn 1, you want to be on the line. You're allowed to be on the line. You have the move. And then after turn 1, they like ran away from you, or you want to run over their things and attack something in the back. That's like on the other side. You could just do that. As a matter of fact, you have this like defensive line that goes through no man's land, right? Left to right objective. It's like just the midline is the line. You want to go from the left objective to the right objective and then have the guy that's on the right go to the left objective and just swap places. If you got enough move, you might just do that. Like, it's crazy. Crazy. Also, this detachment has a strat for -1 to wound if their strength is higher than your toughness. As a knight player, you don't have a ton of like, they have higher strength and toughness, but the ones that do, it feels pretty valuable, right?
Like, I don't know, las cannons,
Vindicators, Gladiator Lancer, Centurions. There's a whole bunch, right? But the ability to just like, you know what, this is the one that you've indicated like 2 Vindicators are going to shoot at. Stop that. Like, pretty good.
Could you imagine how mad you're going to make people when doing that to something like the Lancer or Canis Rex? I needed to die. It's not going to happen, buddy.
Yep. So, again, this detachment I think is very good. It's not my favorite, but it is very good, and I think it will see competitive play. I like it a lot. We're going to skip one and go to, there's a Spearheaded Arms. This is effectively the Armiger detachment. And I've heard some people talk about it and some people like it. I'm not saying it's bad, but also after reading the data sheets and some of like stratagems and stuff in this, I don't actually think this is going to happen. At least not competitively.
And this is the Armiger as a character.
Yeah, Armigers gain battle line, and they have a bunch of rules for Armigers gain extra benefits. You can bondsman multiple things with a single big knight.
I actually do like this one.
And a bunch of people talk about, oh man, I could take like a Lancer, and then I could like hit 3 different Moiraxes, and they could all full send turn 1. That'd be crazy. A bunch of people have liked this detachment for theory crafting purposes. After looking at all the different data sheets and all the different like stratagems for this and stuff like that, I think people are initially excited about this. I think after the dust settles, this is going to be rarely played. We'll get into this a little bit more later, but general thoughts on the Codex is that I think Chaos Knights like playing a few big knights and a bunch of war dogs. I think Imperial Knights like playing a bunch of big knights with a couple of Armigers to back them up. I think the whole Codex encourages big knights too much. And by the time that you go and do the heavy Armiger list, you have to have the multiple bondsmen, because otherwise you don't like really have a rule, right? Like that's the detachment. And by the time you're playing like, oh, 1 Lancer with 3 Moiraxes and then 1 other big knight. Okay, well, several of the big knights, specifically like Castell and Valiant, don't actually have a bondsman ability. So they're kind of not playable in this detachment. And now that I have 2 big knights and a bunch of Armigers, you know how easy it is to turn off the bondsman ability for your whole faction? Because there's only 2 models I have to kill. And if I kill one of them, well, that's like half your army no longer has a detachment rule, right? I don't actually like this one. I'm not saying it's bad. Casually, it's probably just fine. But in competitive play, I think it is way too easy to pick apart. And there's not enough benefits without those key pieces to like keep going.
I see what you're saying. If I take the 2 big knights, like what I was doing originally with the Moiraxes and the Lancer, great. Sounds fantastic. You're going to do some damage.
Yep.
If you keep your knight alive.
Right.
And I think it's more pliable with the Lancer idea, but still,
but it's super
you plug enough damage into that Lancer, it's still dead, and your whole faction is now, or your whole army is now down half of its army's roll.
Yep. Because specifically the Lancer is probably the best example of like, no, but you can gain value out of it, right? Because by the time you tell 3 of them to advance and charge, assuming at least 2 of them make the charge, you don't really need the bondsman ability from him anymore because they're already close enough they didn't need advance and charge. Okay, this is a solid choice, but it's still super risky because turn one, let's say you go first. Maybe it's not worth doing the charge on turn one. So we're going to wait till they get closer. Well, now that you've done that, you've offered them an opportunity to kill the Lancer before you get to use his ability. And now it's like the bondsman never existed at all.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just, there's a whole lot of risk involved in this that I think normal play, totally fine. In competitive play, a good opponent is going to be able to solve the puzzle pretty easily.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I was able to build this exact list with 3 large knights that gave some really good abilities.
And that's more reasonable. But again,
you're now have the same problem.
Right, you're now making that trade, right? Of like you went to 3 knights instead of 2, which means in the armor detachment, you played what, like 2.5 less armigers?
Yeah, because I've got a total of 5.
Yep. And if you had dropped the 1, you could probably add 3 more.
Yep.
Like,
so it's encouraging me to do more big. I see what you're saying. We're being encouraged to play more big knights for multiple reasons, to include army rules.
Right. So again, I like the book. I like where the book is going. And in the next attachment, I'll explain how you can like totally lean into that and it feels good. But also, I don't like the armor detachment. Going to the last detachment, it's the Companions detachment or Questoris Companions. This one's my favorite. And it's so simple, but it's a toolbox detachment. It has everything you want. So, almost everything. The detachment rule basically says, at the beginning, you have to choose an oath to fulfill, and then if you complete it, you get a deed. That's great. That's your army role. This says, oh, you completed that? Choose another oath and another deed. After you complete that, you'll get that one too. And then you can choose the last one, so you could end up with the whole chart. You get all of it.
I kind of feel like this is the competitive choice.
That's how I feel too. But I'm not, okay, this is a simple thing. This is a toolboxy thing. There is technically no benefit here if you're, for some reason, you're unable to complete the oaths. This is bad, right? Because if you don't complete any oaths, you don't have a detachment rule, feels bad. But they're so easy to complete now, it shouldn't be a problem. You get to select a character, not their warlord, any character of your choosing. If you kill that character, you complete an oath. Like, it's that simple, right? Again, I think this is really powerful. It does have a restriction. The restriction is, and this is arguable, I don't want to get into it too deep, but judges are going to argue about this because we already are. After you complete an oath, when you would normally get those bonus CP, this says instead you gain 1, regardless of how you selected it. So instead of getting 2 or 3, you get 1. But now it's repeatable. So effectively over the course of the game, you'll still get 3, which could be better than if you select them where you'd only get 2. Not bad, but technically it slows your CP gain down a little bit. The enhancements are really cool. Half of them are mediocre. The other half are incredible, but it's a cool mechanic. So the way these work is you purchase the enhancement and you get to do a thing once per game. But it's not once per game because after you complete an oath, the enhancement resets.
Yeah, I remember talking about this one with you. Yeah, it resets.
So now, if you do this in a specific order, the argument is these enhancements can trigger 4 times a game. Which is to say, every turn except for turn 5. And also, I didn't need them on turn 5. I'm already winning.
Sheer insanity for this detachment.
Yeah. And so, like I said, some of these enhancements are pretty incredible. So one of them says, when you're selected to fight, you can expend this enhancement to give all of your melee weapons sustain 2. Okay, well, I'm choosing the oath kill a character. I'm going to charge that unit. I'm going to give my thing sustain 2. Oh, look, because it's sustain 2, he's for sure dead. I guess it'll reset for free.
For free?
Super good. There's another one that says after the bearers fought, and this is super good because it doesn't trigger until after you fought. So it's not like you have to predictively do anything. 100% efficiency. After the bear has been selected to fight, after you resolve its attacks, if one or more enemy units were destroyed, not models, unit, were destroyed, you can use this enhancement and you can select another enemy unit that is within 12 inches and visible. And then you roll 66 for each 4-up suffer a mortal wound. So you get to grenade strat for no CP after you fought. And it's 12 inches instead of 8.
My God.
And again, I like, you know how like hilarious that is? Because it gets I charged this screening unit. I killed the screening unit. I'll do mortal wounds to your lone op character that I've now consolidated near, not even into, but consolidated near. And then maybe I get lucky and just kill that navigator in the back, or I kill that, lone op lieutenant. They're not likely to, right? Because it's 66 on 4-ups. It should only be 3 mortal wounds. But what if I spike, right? Like, oh, look, I killed a character, completed my oath, reset. Just super good.
Oops, reset.
And it's utility, right? Because like one of the other oaths is to control more objectives than your opponent. Well, what if I charge this unit taking over this objective? And then because my base is giant, I'm going to grenade the unit that's on the other objective. And that gets just enough OC off there that maybe they have to take a battle shock test. That maybe I just out OC you now. Because while you had like 2 OC a model, I just killed 1 or 2 off with my pseudo grenade strat. And now my actual armiger steals the objective back.
Jesus.
Super good. We haven't even gotten to the stratagems. Toolbox attachment means stratagems are valuable.
Wah, wah.
It has my favorite strat for all of knights, both variants. Super sticky. Sticky with OC5.
Okay. Yep. That's okay. So, yep.
Love it. You want to play a bunch of big knights. So unlike Chaos, you play almost all big knights with just a minimal amount of war dogs. Well, now you have like, I don't want to leave a guy to hold this objective. Well, you don't have to. It's super sticky. It's like you had a armiger sitting on there. No problem. Right? Again, you're encouraged. This detachment's amazing because you're encouraged. The Codex encourage you to play more big knights. We do that. And then it gives you all the tools you need to make up for what the faults are of that thing. Super good. You've got 6+ feel no pain. That's not bad, but pretty reasonable. You've got +1 to hit and wound against monster, titanic, or walker units. So in like the knight matchup, I hope they didn't play the same detachment because I have a thing specifically meant to win the mirror match.
Oh, we didn't specifically play this one thing.
Yeah, because like if I choose this detachment and you choose another detachment, well, it turns out I already have the advantage in the mirror match because I have a strat that's meant to kill other Titanics. Solid. There is a 2 CP strat, which I think is a little expensive, but it does allow for a knight to fall back, shoot, and charge. Exactly what I want in this detachment. I don't love that it's 2 CP, but it is what I would want to see on the table of strats. What I would like to see is it to have the brackets like we've seen before. Like if you select an armiger, it only costs 1. But if you select a big knight, now it costs 2. I think that would make it more valuable, but whatever. You arguably, and we'll talk about Canis Rex in a minute. Canis Rex is like makes this more usable because he reduces a strat.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Now I can't really complain about it. He's still probably doing like a free super sticky anyway.
Yep.
So I don't know that it's relevant, but I love this detachment. I almost forgot what's going to be your favorite, by the way.
This detachment is going to be my favorite. Okay.
There's a strat for eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which you advance. I said toolbox, and by toolbox, I mean every tool you could ever want.
Oh, no.
It turns out every tool's a hammer if you need a hammer. Like, it just works. Okay, so I'm going to go over the least cool strat in here, and I'm going to convince you that it's your favorite.
I'm ready.
So
I'm a very stubborn person.
The one I haven't gone over yet is you can add 3 additional inches to the consolidation range of a model. So instead of consolidating 3, you consolidate 6.
No convincing necessary. I already know how this works.
It's not even good yet. Hold on a minute. We're going to switch over to data sheets real quick.
Tank shock with an Night Lancer and consolidating 6 inches.
Sure.
Oh.
Yeah, we're gonna go over a random data sheet real quick. If we go over here to the Knight Gallant, that's the melee specific one, by the way.
Yep.
Okay, cool. His ability is each time this unit consolidates, it can move an additional 3 inches. Would you like to consolidate 9
inches?
It turns out I charge with a melee specific knight. I clobber that unit because that's my job. No one argues a gallant charges something and doesn't kill it. Now I consolidate 9. 9. What do you want to be? How many things? It's not even what you want to be engaged with. How many things do you want to be engaged with?
It's even worse than that. Because you now have the ability, you're telling me for free, I can consolidate 6 with. That's great. What if I told you I have 2 units that can consolidate 6 that are both melee oriented and very scary? Oof. But again, I can now engage in your whole friggin' army.
Right. If you had consolidate 9 with a base that big, it's no longer can you engage something. It's literally how many, right? Because there's no pivot cost to consolidate. So I get 9 inches of doing loop-de-loops to find the perfect position of I've engaged 4 different units. Yes. Does that mean you get to swing back at me? Absolutely. But if you're going against Tau, Eldar, whatever, I don't care. Swing your strength 3 at me. Like, what are you going to do about it? I've engaged half of your faction.
And if you're smart enough, you've already killed the very scary thing. So
probably. Because what's going to be out front? The melee unit, not the soft shooting unit.
You're right.
Like, it's so good.
I now have a reason to take this gallant.
I'm going to give you more reasons than that. Okay. So the gallant has a bondsman ability. Technically, it's good. It lets the bondsman thing. So the armiger gets not only reroll charges, but it also gets reroll hit rolls for melee attacks that turn.
You know who this is going on?
I mean, presumably a Morax, but
absolutely.
Okay, so but again,
now I have a reason to take 2 melee Morax.
That's decent. Is that better or worse than advance and charge on a Lancer? Situationally, maybe.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you don't need the advance because we already have the +2 from the Oath or something like that, I don't know that I need the advance and charge. Even after turn 1, where you do the crazy whatever and long bomb charge, the answer is this is still value because reroll charges probably irrelevant, right? I'm close enough, but the reroll hit still feels useful. So I'm going to argue this ability is technically better than a Lancer. Again, situationally, that's not true. Turn 1, objectively, we're going to say the Lancer's better. The minute we're not on turn 1, the Gallant's better the rest of the game. The Gallant is significantly cheaper than a Lancer, which is no surprise, right? The Cerastus have always been a little more expensive than regular knights. This is the melee only knight, which means he's always the cheapest variant of Big Knight. Objectively cheaper. Interesting thing they did for him, they gave all of his sweep attacks lethal hits. Not mad about that. That's fine, whatever. Gave all of his strike attacks, that's the like tank busting one, dev wounds. For if you remember, for Chaos, this exact variant in Chaos, they basically gave sustained hits to both variants
Yeah.
And that was like the plan, right? Just more attacks. Sounds good. Here, it's more value worth of attacks. It's different. I don't mind it. Seems reasonable. He is cheap enough and better in enough situations. The only real trade-off is the one level of invol. I'm going to argue this is the better version of the Lancer in almost every way. The exception being turn 1 whole hog charges, which I think really only applies in like the Valiant detachment or Valor detachment, which I don't really want to use anyway. And the 1 level of invol. If you're willing to give up 1 level of invol, you save points, you gain more versatile abilities as far as the bondsman, you gain like the ability to wombo, combo, consolidate, and the damage output. I gotta be honest, I think this one is technically better. Not by much, but it is technically better. If you were going into a mirror match, the Lancer is arguably better mathematically by like a tiny bit, but it is technically better. The minute you're not in a knight mirror match, I'm going to argue this has better sweeps all the time. And the tank busting is close enough to the same as far as strikes. This is the better option because again, you're saving points. I don't have to wait for the Horus Heresy model to be back in stock again, which has been a distinct problem for the Lancer a lot. The Gallant is awesome. So now that we're on data sheets, there's so few data sheets. I made my little chart of good, maybe bad of all the data sheets in here, which just doesn't include the Forge World stuff for what it's worth. I think you have 4 really good data sheets that I kind of want to play a lot. You have 4 data sheets that are like maybes. And then I think you have 2 bad data sheets. I'm going to go over some keynote stuff here. Keynote stuff, I think the Canis Rex is now a maybe. He was arguably, you're playing Imperial Knights before this Codex. He's like the auto include, right? He's objectively better.
Absolutely.
They nerfed his gun a little bit. Not enough to be upset about it, but by a little bit. And his melee attacks are arguably equivalent to the Gallant and to a Lancer. But Canis Rex is objectively more points than both of them. And he's epic, which means you can't give him an enhancement. So my argument is I would no longer take Canis Rex. Not because he's bad. If you take him, he has cheapening of strats. He has like an acceptable gun. He has good melee. I'm not actually complaining about him. Okay. If you take him, there's nothing wrong with that. But choosing between Canis Rex, a Gallant, or the equivalent guy that has like the same gun as him, he's just more points. And all of those points are basically purchasing Sir Hector, right? Sir Hector has become more expensive in this Codex than he ever was. And I don't know that I want to pay that much for him. Right? Like,
nope.
Instead of taking Canis Rex, you could take a Gallant with an enhancement probably, and then you've still paid for half the cost of a Navigator so that I can just have him on my objective from turn 1 for like linchpin or whatever else.
Yep.
And now I don't have to wait till Canis dies to get Sir Hector. And let's be honest, in like half the games, by the time that they kill Canis Rex, Sir Hector dies in the same turn because Sir Hector had to like disembark. He's not that far away. Even with lone op, they just charge him because they like killed Canis Rex in shooting or something like that. Like, it's not like Sir Hector lived that long afterwards anyway. And now he's so expensive, I don't think it's worth it.
Well, I'm just going to say on that same note, okay, Canis Rex was good.
He was good. Objectively. He was good. It still is reasonable.
You're right.
Because of the like reducing of CP costs.
He's got some things going for him. He's got a decent melee. He's got a decent gun. He's got the reduction of CP. He's It's got some decent things. Here's my big takeaway with Canis Rex. And this is the argument I've made multiple times. Would you like your opponent to score assassinate? Not even assassinate. What is it? Oh gosh, killing 2 units.
No prisoners.
No prisoners. Would you like to make it really easy for them? Because now, because of the way it's worded, it used to be Canis Rex doesn't count as dead until Sir Hector for points. Now it's not like that anymore.
Specifically for some of the secondaries. Yep. Yes.
So now you're giving them an arguably easier way to score those. Not saying that Canis Rex dies easy. I've heard that counter argument multiple times. What I'm saying is
the argument
when he does die,
Sir Hector dies easily.
Exactly.
Right? He's got lone op, and in theory, if you could get him far enough away, that's super valuable.
Absolutely.
Right? But he's not far away. Because Canis Rex himself wants to be up in the mix of it. He wants to use his melee. That's significant points that you are leaving on the table if you don't charge. But now that you've charged, you are close enough that by the time Sir Hector comes out, something, maybe not everything, something can definitely shoot at him the turn he disembarks. Again, he doesn't live very long afterwards.
No.
If they let him live and then you're able to run away back to the home objective, I guess then he lives. But again, why not use the detachment where it was just super sticky from the beginning? Why not use half of the points from the points difference between the Gallant and the Canis Rex, and you could just pay for half of the Navigator by just straight out from the beginning? There's so many other options. I don't think he's worth taking. Again, he reduces CP cost, and I would argue that's his main advantage right now. If you take him because you feel like you're CP starved, I get it. Also, complete your oath faster. You get 2 free CP that doesn't even count towards the I discard a card that I couldn't complete on turn 1 for secondary. You have so many options for CP. I don't know why you would be CP starved. So I have him as a maybe. Arguably, I kind of think he's bad, but I'll leave him as a maybe because people have played with him enough. They can probably make good choices with him. That's probably the biggest highlight in here is him. The Errant and Crusader. I want to touch on these guys because I think they're bad.
I think they're really bad.
So the Errant is a melee weapon and a gun weapon. Your choices are the battle cannon or thermal cannon, I believe. Nope, just thermal cannon. Ugh, even worse. Anyway, so his ability is Bondsman. You can give something reroll advances and then ranged weapons assault. If that's the thing you cared about, there's the Valor detachment. His ability is for his ranged attacks only. If it's the closest eligible target, he can add 1 to the hit rolls. Not terrible, but he's got a thermal cannon, which means he wants to go after the vehicle. What if the vehicle disembarked a unit? Well, now I don't get the +1 to hit, so it's like I didn't have an ability at all. He's not very good. I think you could just objectively take better things. There's also the, Crusader. Crusader is, in theory, everyone's going to say he's good. I think he's actually the worst one in here. His Bondsman ability is ranged weapons for the armorer get +1 to hit. I don't hate it. It's not good. I don't hate it. His abilities in the movement phase, if this model remains stationary in knights, is ranged weapons only, gains sustained 1. You've got 6 models, 7 models on the table. Do you really want to remain stationary? Don't get me wrong. If you are really aggressive with this guy, this is the guy that has 2 guns, by the way, no melee. You want to get up to the midfield objective turn 1, and then you want to stand on the objective and remain stationary and just blast away while people charge you and you have to stomp your feet. I mean, actually shoot at them at -1 to hit now because you're engaged. Sure, I guess. Also, just don't play him.
Just
Pick
don't
anyone else. I don't like him. The fact that he can double chain gun arguably is valuable, right? Like that alone is a good loadout, and I'm happy about taking him. The fact that he basically doesn't have an ability because if I remain stationary, I limit my targets in order to overkill something, I guess. I don't like him anymore. He used to be one of my favorite. He was an auto include, double chain gun guy. Now I don't want him at all. One thing I need to talk about is the new knight, the defender. I like him. Matter of fact, I love him. I think he's great. I really, really tried to put multiple in a list. And the way his rule works, I think the only one where it makes sense is in the Armiger detachment. That's it. Otherwise, I kind of hate it. Like, playing one sounds valuable. I love his guns. His ability is solid. He's got a 4-up invul naturally. Love him.
He's great.
Playing more than one of them, his ability gives other things cover and a 4-up invul. That sounds good. They already come with 5-up invuls, but whatever, it sounds good, right? The problem is he has to be in between the shooting unit and the target to give them the invul. So he has to like body block them. He doesn't have melee. He's got stompy feet and that's it. He's double gun. So like, what am I protecting? The one that remains stationary and I was pissed about it anyway? Like, one of them sounds great. I love his guns. If you can give your Armigers a 4-up invul, if you can give something else a 4-up invul, I love that. Playing more than one of them just loses value so fast because it's so difficult to give things a 4-up invul. He's still on my list of good though. I still really like him. He's just not spammable. And for being the air quotes new thing, usually the new thing is like pretty good. Like it's arguably spammable. I mean, we got like Bergie, right? And if he wasn't epic, I would spam the shit out of that guy. He's amazing. This guy is not epic, but also it's really hard to justify taking more. The other thing is I am slightly bothered by the big knights, the Knight Castellan and Knight Valiant. These are like the supersized big guys, right?
Yeah.
I still like them. They have crazy guns. They are good. However, they don't have a bondsman ability. Instead, they have a 6-inch aura of giving Armigers only cover from ranged attacks. Fine. Again, you're paying more points for these guys because they're bigger. I don't know if that's good enough. Now, that being said, between the two variants, Valiant, you probably shouldn't take. The Castellan,
just
I actually like. And I need to go over the Castellan in order to explain why I don't like the Valiant. The Valiant on paper is fine. I read him first. Don't ask why. He's second. I read him first. I was like, oh, he's not bad. I kind of like him. He splashes extra mortal wounds around. It seems okay. And then there's the Castellan. When you compare the two, the Castellan is better in just about every way. So the Castellan's rule is he gets to reroll damage rolls against monsters and vehicles. Okay, well, he's got several very large guns. He is meant to go hunt vehicles. I mean, and presumably monsters. This seems good. I'm happy we got it. Sweet rule. So they've got, the shield breaker missiles, which are anti-Titanic 4+, so they're good in a mirror match. They also have dev wounds for what it's worth. You've got the Volcano Lance, which is only D3 shots, but it's like 18 strength, -5 AP, D6 plus 8 of probably whatever you're targeting with that. You're going to be allowed to reroll that damage, which means it's unlikely to spike low. It seems great. I love him. I would play him. He's in the list that I'm going to be putting on Patreon so that everyone can see what I thought of the Codex. I actually like him. You go to the Valiant and you're like, oh, well, this guy's also got the harpoon, right? So it's still D3 blast with dev wounds, which the Volcano Lance didn't have. And it goes up to strength 24. So I'm wounding on 2s against T12, right? It's AP 6 instead of 5, which is kind of irrelevant, but whatever. That sounds cool. Flat 10 damage. Again, Sounds great. I read it first and I loved it. If you, its special rules in the shooting phase, if you kill a thing with the Thundercoil Harpoon, you get to roll, and on a 4+, you get to splash D3 mortal wounds onto someone else because it like arcs. That sounds good. But now let's actually compare the two, because we can't afford to put both of them in the same list, and I wouldn't want to. Well, now you compare them, and it turns out that crazy harpoon has a 12-inch range. Volcano Lance has a 72.
It says, I don't care how far you are. You're dead to me.
There are turns where you don't get to shoot the harpoon, which means you don't get the splash damage. That feels bad. I admittedly have to give up dead wounds and a little bit of strength. So maybe I'm wounding on 3s instead of 2s. But then I gain the ability to, but I for sure get to shoot. You can't stop me. And also I'm re-rolling damage, which in this case, if we do a little bit of math here, even without a re-roll, my average damage is 11, whereas the other one's flat 10. Well, you could spike low, right? Like I could roll a 1. Well, now it's 9 damage instead of 10. First off, that's 1 out of a D6 that is worse. The majority of the time it's better. But I get re-rolls, which means after re-rolls, what's the likelihood that I roll 2 1s in a row? Is it possible? Yes. But also, worst case scenario, I'm 1 damage less. The reality is I have a way better chance to spike way higher. If your argument is, but what if you roll a 6 to wound every time, so you're always getting dead wounds? You're right. Assuming you're in range and assuming you always roll 6s to wound, I guess it's better. For the rest of us that have to live in the real world with random dice, play the Castellan. He's objectively better in every way.
Play the Castellan. You know what? I distinctly remember you yelling at people to play the Castellan before the Codex came out.
Well, I wasn't yelling at people to do it. If I'm being honest, I think I gave people a bit of a hard time of like, I know he has good guns, but he didn't feel very synergistic before. And I would argue that's still probably true now. But before, it was you were purchasing a bunch of good guns, and then the rest of your list was all about synergy between the bondsmen and the this and that. So I kind of like, whenever someone took him, I was like, no, that's fine. I'm not complaining. But why? Did you feel like you didn't have enough tank busting? Did you feel like you needed like a gunboat to sit in the back? When they took the Castellan and like the double gun knight, there was like, I was like, but why do you have both? Right? Like it seemed a little redundant. So I actually gave people a bit of a hard time for taking him before, not because I disliked him, but because I kind of felt like there were parts of lists that felt a little redundant. Now, again, I don't think you're taking the double gun knight. I don't think you're taking Canis Rex as often because his gun got nerfed. Now it makes more sense to take him, but he still has arguably some of the same problems, right? He's not very synergistic. He's just a crazy gunboat that does his job and no complaints. I'm willing to spend those points for those good guns all the time.
Yep.
I mean, he's tougher than regular knights. He's good. But I think people are less likely to put in redundancy into their list. So he naturally becomes more efficient than he was before, despite very little changes. So I don't want to go over every data sheet. We'll be here all day. But as I said, I got a little chart. There's only a few data sheets. I don't like Aaron. I don't like Crusader. As far as my good, take a look at these. You should play them. I really like the Gallant. I really like the Defender. I like the Warden. I like the Paladin. And I like the Castellan. That's my good list. Everything else is a maybe. I'm not saying don't take the other ones, but also find a good reason. Because if you're just playing them because you want them, you need to justify the rest of them.
So before we end this episode and we thank our patrons, we talk about the good coming, I have a question for you.
That's why I'm here.
Castigator.
Okay.
The Knight, the Cerastus Knight Castigator.
Yes.
Thoughts on the Castigator?
So the Castigator has the suppression ability. It's suppression from shooting. Yes. Shooting is like chain gun. It's the 6.22 with a bunch of shots twin linked.
Yep.
Solid. I don't mind it. Because he's a Cerastus, his melee is also good.
Yep.
No complaints. As is true with all Cerastus, they're technically a little like better, but also worse at the same time compared to things like the Gallant, right? Because they get less attacks than the Gallant, but also they've got like a good stat line, so no complaints. Honest answers, I wouldn't take him. So everything about him says reasonable. Okay. But you have to remember you are investing big points into suppressing one unit.
Yep.
The Helvrin, the Armiger that's the double autocannon, goes to similar number of shots, strength 8 instead of 6, only AP 1 instead of 2, flat 3 damage instead of 2. So it's like minor variations, but let's say similar target priorities, right? Like probably some Blade Guard or something like that. Also has suppression. Well, you paid 400, like almost 400 points, not quite, almost 400 points to suppress one unit. Or for less than 300 points, you could get 2 Armigers pumping out a similar amount of damage and then also suppressing 2 separate units.
I don't hate that.
I think this whole codex encourages big knights and doesn't discourage you from taking Armigers, but encourages you to take a smaller number of Armigers. That being said, they still have value. I would still rather have 2 Helvrins than 1 Cerastus. Specifically the Castigator, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're bad, right? They're good. I still think the Lancer is amazing, but also, do you want to take the Lancer when you have a Gallant for cheaper and they're pretty similar?
Or do you want to take both?
You can't afford that, son.
Yes, you can.
You can't afford that. But
You
also,
absolutely
you're giving
can.
up real other things, right? Like by the time you're taking a Lancer and a Gallant and like, hey, but how many guns are you running? Have you turned your whole list into melee only? This is feeling rough. Like, again, it's not that it's bad. It's that the biggest, let's say, problem with Knights is that they have a low model count. And then unlike Chaos Knights, Imperial Knights are encouraged to take an even smaller number of model count because they want the bigger knight, more big knights and less small knights.
Yep.
So there's a bunch of trade-offs here. And this is where I think Chaos Knights have somewhat of an advantage, right? Like they're generally, their models, because they're playing more Armigers, are less powerful, but also they have more of them. So who cares? Imperial Knights, all of their stuff is going to be more powerful. And when they start that snowball, boy, howdy, are they going to feel like they just roll over you because like, how do I deal with this many big knights? It's crazy. But also, if you're able to get ahead at all against them and you can like use cover appropriately and specifically obscuring and kind of like pick them apart early, well, they don't have enough models. And late game, you're going to out action them. You're going to out OC them. You're going to have a great time. Right? So it's trade-offs. I'm not saying Chaos Knights are better than Imperial Knights. And I'm not saying the opposite is true either. But I'm saying they both have distinct reasons now.
Yep.
Before we got this codex, I would argue Chaos Knights and Imperial Knights felt pretty similar. And arguably, Imperial Knights were doing better than Chaos Knights, specifically because Canis Rex was crazy. Now, Canis Rex is more in line with what he's supposed to be. The whole faction is more balanced. But as much as they are now more in line with each other, they do distinctly
different things,
just enough different things that they actually feel like separate factions instead of, no, it's knights. They're all the same. Again, overall, super happy with this codex. It feels just different enough that it's not, I feel like I'm reading the Chaos Codex again, but now things are like less spiky. It just feels better. That being said, it also feels more balanced. So for all of the opponents of Knight players, it now feels more reasonable. It feels like, GW actually has some intent of balance instead of they just shoehorned a bunch of rules from Chaos Knights over and hoped it would work. Overall, I'm happy. I like the Codex. I think the Codex is powerful. I still think the Codex is competitive and good. I don't think that they're going to drop from like top 3 to, bottom half or anything like that. But I do think are they still top 3? Maybe, if people want to stick with it and adjust their play style. If people want a bandwagon, maybe they drop from like top 3 to top 5, top 6, something like that.
Yep.
They go down just a little bit. Still good, but it's the people who stick with it and adjust their play style are still going to do very well. If too many bandwagoners leave, sheer numbers, they might drop and something else whatever gets bandwagoned might come above them, but very good.
Well, with that being said, it's been a long episode, and I'm sure you're wondering, where's the mid-break? Well, there's not really much to talk about in the mid-break this time. We had some sneak peeks from GW, and we don't work on rumors here. We work on facts.
So we did get some official information, and I'd be happy to go over some of that. The short answer is all of these things don't come with a release date. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we don't know when it's releasing, but they did show us an Ultramarine Combat Patrol.
Yep.
I'm going to say I don't like it. Okay, all right, so here's my argument, right? You're an Ultramarines player. You're not an Ultramarines player that's looking to get into Ultramarines. Neither one of you was that excited about Tig. It's not that Tig's bad. It's that he's okay. He's not the reason I was joining Ultramarines.
Also, I only got 3 Blade Guard and 3 Aggressors. That's not enough.
It's worse than that. You get 3 Blade Guard and 3 Aggressors. And these are the reasons they're convincing you to buy it, right? Like, look at this value. You want both of these because even if you already have them, you could use 3 more. Also, what's the rest of the box? Tig, that I wasn't that excited. A unit of Intercessors that I already probably have too many of because they come in almost every box set. And then Reavers. Reavers are finally playable this edition, but it's the first time they've ever been playable, which means, do you know how easily they are to find used and cheap? Because people bought them because they looked cool and then found out they were awful for like the last 3 editions.
You're right. I got them on the cheap.
This box set feels like here's a bunch of stuff that we had too much of. Also, we're going to convince you to buy our bad stock by putting in some Aggressors and Blade Guard because we know you guys like those. Again, if you don't own Tig, everybody could use more Aggressors, everybody could use more Blade Guard. It's not an unreasonable box. Also, if you don't feel like you need more Aggressors or Blade Guard, if you already own Tig, I don't care if you're an Ultramarines player or not. Why would I buy it? It's not that good.
See, I'm going to be on the defensive standpoint of I don't have a single Intercessor. I don't have a single Intercessor. So you know what?
First off,
might be a good buy for me.
You are the weirdest Space Marine player in existence right now. Secondly, it's not that you don't have any Intercessors. It's that you don't have any Intercessors anymore, right? You had them and you got rid of them to pick up some other stuff.
No, I never bought a single Intercessor. The only Intercessors
you have never bought a single box set
that had Intercessors? No.
What? So the only box set you've ever bought was the Blood Angels Combat Patrol?
You bitch. Everything else was standalone. I'm GW's favorite customer.
All right. You don't understand what a value is. I'm glad that you, as the person who doesn't understand value, is very excited about this Ultramarines Combat Patrol. That definitely doesn't say anything about the Combat Patrol.
I was just trying to play devil's advocate.
You did it.
At any rate, you're not wrong. Everybody, you can go get Intercessors like $5 on eBay. It's not even that big of a deal.
Yeah, this box set is not unbuyable. Let's say I don't own a Tig, the Blade Guard and Aggressors are both valuable. Arguably, I could take one of the Reavers and make like a sweet Combi Lieutenant and a sweet Phobos Captain. You could find reasons why it's good to purchase this because you are effectively getting those Intercessors you didn't want for free. I'm not actually mad at it. but also compared to all of the other combat patrols, you're a Blood Angels player. You look at the Blood Angels combat patrol and you're like, even if I end up with 3 more Sanguinary Guard than I wanted, I still love that combat patrol, right? Like, it's pretty good. Compared to all the others. The new Raven Guard combat patrol.
So good.
Boy, howdy, do I love the shit out of that thing. It's so good.
Comes in the Invictus Warsuit, though.
They are not as bad as you think they are. I'm not saying they're like super playable, just auto put it in, but in the right setup, those things are pretty good. Do you know how big their scout move is?
There's a lot.
It's a lot. Again, it's these little things of, it's not that the Ultramarines combat patrol is objectively bad. It's that it's not as good as so many others that they all just came out with. It feels a little out of place to me.
It does.
Like, and it wouldn't even take much to fix. You want to give me some, but I have so much extra stock of Reavers and Intercessors, I'm shoehorning them in. No complaints. But then why not switch out the Aggressors and the Blade Guard for 1 unit of Terminators, for 1 unit of Assault Terminators, and then you give me the new Calgar and Terminator armor? Holy shit, that combat patrol doesn't stay in stock. I love it. It's amazing. Hell yeah, you could make it so good so easily. Matter of fact, better yet, leave it Aggressors, leave it Blade Guard, switch out TIG for the old Calgar with the Gravis and the Victrix Guard. And now you've not only confirmed to me that we're getting 2 data sheets, not replacing, but also now that everyone's excited and ready to buy this like Terminator Calgar, everyone who doesn't have the old Marnius, who's looking to jump ship over to Ultramarines, now thinks this is a super value box, because who's Calgar going to go with? Blade Guard or Aggressors? He can go with both, and both feel valuable. And now you're moving the old Calgar stock that you've distracted everyone with the new Calgar. We're talking a 1 character swap, and I'm going from this is a mediocre at best combat patrol to holy shit, I can't keep it in stock. I'm no GW rep, but also.
Well, at any rate, we have to do a huge thank you to our patrons. So let's get started with thanking our Guardsman patron, Sergeant Matt's Mini Minute. Changed his name.
He did it. Does a mini a minute.
He does a mini in a minute.
That's not true. Maybe his brother does. That man puts in real hobby time. He does not do it in a minute.
Yeah. Then we have our White Shield Guardsman patrons, Mitch, Nicodemus, and Tiberius. So thank you to our patrons, because without you, the show wouldn't be possible. And thank you to our listeners, because as well, we wouldn't have a show. We'd be talking to ourselves in a little padded room. That doesn't sound good.
I know, but it sounds right up your alley.
It does. So a couple things before we jump off ship here. I want to remind everyone that this weekend is our Gopher Games GT.
As a matter of fact, by the time you're listening to this, the GT's probably already going on.
And you could be listening to me live. Correct. The whole thing.
That's the thing, right? If you're hearing this and you just found out about the GT, first off, hello, we've never met you before. Secondly, our Twitch is running. Feel free to come say hi to Aaron and ask him why he's bad at Blood Angels.
You, buddy. So we're going to have this streaming live on Twitch. We're going to have it streaming live on Gopher Games YouTube page. All of those are going to be in the links to the show notes to this particular episode as well. So you can just listen to this episode and you're like, oh, they're live. You can go right down and come chat with me. I will be live all day for 2 days straight.
Pretty much, yeah.
From October 4th through the 5th, you can come hang out with us on, again, that's the YouTube or the Twitch channel, and come say hi. Come hang out with me. Give the player some love. He's
going to get lonely.
I'm going to get real lonely. But on that note, aside from those things, Remember, you can always head on over to gophermafia.com and save yourself 15% off of some sweet GW stuff. You like that? It's a theme song now.
Oh, yeah. Was it a theme song or a stroke? I'm not really sure.
At any rate, you can head on over our website, save 15% off all GW stuff all the time, always. Doesn't matter what season it is.
Including new releases. As a matter of fact, so there's not much for new releases this week because it's all like Underworld stuff, which is not super popular here, but whatever, that's fine. If you're into it, let me know. I'll try to get you taken care of.
Yep.
We still have on pre-order that will be released probably by the time you're hearing this.
Drukhari.
We still have some Drukhari left.
Yep. Surprised.
Yeah. I think I've got 1, maybe 2 battle forces left. Got some combat patrols.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to be able to get the battle forces back in, but if I'm out of some of the other stuff, combat patrols, etc., and you see that we're out, shoot me an email. I will still get you taken care of. We'll still get you that 15% off.
Yep. And that doesn't just include GW stuff. We do 15% off all kinds of things in the store. So I encourage you to go check out the website, regardless of your hobby. Go check it out. Get yourself some discounts. Save yourself some bucks.
15% off all GW paint.
Yeah, you're right. We do random deals and stuff too. Just go check out the website. We want you to save money, so just go look at it. On that note, you got anything else, Chris?
Not this week. We're going to do a couple of weird things once we get done with this GT, just to give you guys kind of a heads up. So next week, we're going to come out with an episode, but also there's going to be a bonus episode that's on Patreon only. No worries if you're not a patron, that will come out the week after, so you'll still get access to it.
Yep.
But if you want it early, Patreon's the place to be for that.
Yep.
And then sometime later in the month, we're going to do an additional bonus episode for patrons that will be patrons only.
Yep.
And we'll do 1 or 2 of we'll try to do like 1 of those a month, I think.
Yep.
And we'll find some goofy fun stuff that would be for patrons only.
Oh yeah. We gonna start treating our patrons right.
And if you want to be a patron, there's several tiers for you. Some of them are as cheap as like $5, right?
Oh,
for 1 coffee a month, you can have all of Aaron's special needs.
The specialist. That's it. I want to make a minifig and call it the specialist. It's just going to be me, Space Marine armor with my head.
We should, if we're going to make a mini of you, it'll be called the specialist, but it's going to be you wearing like guardsman armor. It's like you calling yourself a Space Marine, but also it's like you're just Space Marine sized with like 3 sizes too small, like chest armor with your gut hanging out and just like a helmet that like it clearly has a gap because it doesn't fit on your head right.
You're right. I'm a tank. On that note, I guess that's it for us. So thank you all for listening. We hope to see you live. And until next time, see you. Tune in next week.
Hey everybody, it's Aaron. I want to thank you again for tuning in for this episode of Gopher's Workshop with us, hanging out and listening. Remember, leave a 5-star review. Let us know what you think. And if you feel like supporting us, you can always go to Patreon in the show notes below. Thanks. Till next time.